Okay. Apparently, since this is my trademark.
Can you do it with one hand? Ooh, barely.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Welcome to Girl vs. Girl podcast. I'm Melissa.
I'm Kylie, and today we are going to do a little mom talk. That's what we're going to call this series.
Hopefully a monthly series.
Yeah. We're going to have 2 in a row, though. So maybe it'll just be random.
Yeah.
And we're going to do things we wish we knew before giving birth.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 2 completely different experiences. I should have shoes on. You have shoes on.
I have shoes on because these are my new shoes.
Cute.
So I'm excited about them.
Cute. We had 2 completely different birth experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be, polar opposite. So that should be fun to kind of compare. But before that, do you have any life updates?
Yeah. Are we going to say like what our plan is? Kind of like a part 1, part 2 type sitch?
Sure. Yeah, why don't you tell them?
We're going to do 2 short episodes because we're on a little bit of a crunch.
Yeah, next week we record on Sundays and next week is Easter. So we're not going to record, and we were ahead and now we're not. So we have to record 2 weeks today and we only have an hour. So we are
2 short episodes, part 1, part 2.
Yeah.
Both are going to be mom talk.
Both of them will be mom talk, a little bit different, but
Yeah.
similar.
So yeah, a little life update. Well, my life update is my child still does not sleep through the night.
The life update is that basically things are the same as they were 4 months ago.
Yeah. I'll paint you a little picture. The average night of sleep for me is about 4 to 5 hours. And if I wake up with a 6-hour sleep, I think I've died and gone to heaven. I think I can take on the world the next day. I Snapchat Kylie. I'm like, get ready with me. This is my life. I send a million things. I feel like you can tell when I have a bad night because I don't Snapchat you till like 4 p.m.
Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah. Yeah, if it's a good day, my phone's like buzzing before I'm even like getting going. I'm like, oh, I've got stuff to listen to. I'm getting ready for the day. And then, I listen to 15 minutes of Melissa talking, and then I start recording. I go, I've been talking for 15 minutes. So,
yeah.
Anyways, I did not get a life update today. No. Which means that things did not go well.
Last night was probably the worst night we've ever had in our lives. And I don't know what my child's deal is, but we're doing our best. Yeah. And I think he just never recovered from the 4-month sleep regression, and it just bleeded into now a 6-month one. Also, at 6 months, they have a huge growth spurt.
You're also almost 7 months now. Or he is 7 months.
Yeah, that's true.
So the magnesium cream that you got is going to fix it all tonight.
Oh, yeah, I got magnesium cream, and I was just telling them that my eggs are all in one basket with this thing.
Yeah.
This is going to be the fix-all, and if not, my mental health will crumble.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll just be a placebo, but it'll still work. Placebos work.
It says to rub it on the bottom of their feet, and I go, I wonder what happened if I just put it all over his body.
What if we just filled the bathtub with it?
Yeah.
Anything else to say about it?
No, that's
pretty much it.
Yeah, that's the only thing like crazy in my life is that we just don't sleep.
Yeah.
But it couldn't be happening to a better person because I can handle no sleep. I'm good on no sleep.
Yeah, it also seems like he will do like a handful of bad nights and then a couple of good nights. So and obviously even the good nights are not actually good, but you're at least getting like, usually it seems
honestly,
like
you make me feel a lot better because you remind me. You're like, I'll Snapchat you on like a really bad night and you're like, but he's still getting better. Yeah. Like he's better than he was last month. And I'm like, that's true. He is. So there's hope. Like he is learning. It's just very slow.
And he'll learn how to sleep through the night eventually.
Yeah.
Just might be when he is 4. With
Jake
how
goes,
things are going.
He won't be in our bed. I go, I'm wild. Like personally, I'm against co-sleeping. But if that kid slept, you best believe I'd be dropping my morals.
Mm-hmm. Literally, yeah.
They'd go right out the window.
Yeah.
Anyway, your life update.
I don't really have anything either. Coast was... Oh, what? Tell me what I should talk about.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't have a life update? What? The last 2 weeks of your life have been wild.
I know. Well, that's what I was going to say, but I feel
filmed in literally 2 weeks.
I know. In the last couple of, like, the last 5 days, I don't feel like anything wild's been happening, but Coast was sick, which is why we didn't record for 2 weeks. And he was sick when he was, like, 2 months old or something was the last time he was sick, and he just had, like, a cold or something at 2 months old. This was, which you'd think that would be worse because he was, like,
younger.
7 weeks old or something when that happened.
Yeah.
This was so much worse, so much more scary. Melissa. It's going to be confiscated.
That came from my soul. Okay, anyway.
It was just so much worse. He ended up having an ear infection. I mean, long story short, we thought it was teething. Then we realized, this is pretty insane teething.
Yeah.
Found out he had an ear infection. Put him on medicine for the ear infection. Had a reaction to the medicine, which
is extremely common with amoxicillin.
Is it?
Don't know why that's what they prescribed.
I don't know either, because then that was a whole thing, which I'm not even going to get into because I could go on about it for 30 minutes. Yeah. But then when he had the reaction, we gave him these eardrops instead. So much easier for so many different reasons. Why did they not just give that first? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why they don't just give that first. It's probably not as effective or something, but honestly.
Also, how effective is amoxicillin that's not actually getting into him?
Right, yeah, because he was throwing it up, literally. Anyways, then he had a reaction to that, so then we had to switch. Okay, just a fly. And then he got better, and then he did cut a tooth. So it was teething, but it was also an ear infection.
Yeah.
And it was a wild 10 days.
Yeah.
I was like, what is wrong with my kid? Is there something else going on? Like,
it
was
so
being like, crazy.
Do you think he like has like an actual problem? Like, should I take him to the doctor? Like, I'm scared. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, now I feel like someone switched our babies one night in the crib because I have a completely different baby than I did a week ago in the best way. And honestly, if someone did,
like, I'm just not gonna ask questions.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing that's happened in my life in the last couple of weeks.
That's
it's
pretty
over.
Big. That's like your baby's first big sickness.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was bad. We almost took him to the emergency room one night at like 1 a.m. and we didn't end up doing that. And I'm glad we didn't, but it got to the point where we were like
teetering.
We like had stuff on the counter ready to go if we needed to like take him in the middle of the night because it was that freaky. Anyways, anything else or should we jump in?
Maybe we should jump in.
Okay.
Those are the pants.
These are the pants you gave me.
I love those pants. I don't know what's up with the knee.
Well, I think that they're supposed to be split like this, but I think they're probably supposed to be split like this, but then they're like right on where you...
I think I blew them out.
Bend your knee. Well, I keep blowing them out. Yeah. Every other time I wear them, this goes farther down.
They're so stretchy, though. You just, I love them.
They're comfy. They're one of my only couple of pairs of jeans I like, so...
Okay.
Do you want to go first? Yeah.
Sure.
We're doing things we wish we knew before giving birth.
Yes. Should we really quickly... Do you want to say what your birth was?
Sure.
And I'll say what my birth was, and then I can...
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Just so people can see, expect what the difference is.
We have a long list. Are we going to go through all of them? Rapid fire them?
Probably. Okay. I might be like, I can combine those, or I can...
Okay, good idea. Otherwise, whatever. We'll just rapid fire.
I also have one that, I asked Jake what his opinion was on, his experience going through that. Mm-hmm. So that one I want to make sure I say, but...
Okay. Me first?
Yeah.
My birth experience was I had a home birth. It was pretty much as natural as you could possibly get with it. I did some of the tests that are recommended during pregnancy. Some of them I didn't do. Had a midwife and a doula here at home. Literally didn't even get checked to see how dilated I was by anyone other than myself or Chris, but I never had a professional ever even stick their hands up me until afterwards when they were making sure everything was okay. Anyways, not that has anything to do with it, but it was really very, I don't want to say hands off because they were there and they would have checked me if I wanted them to. My midwife, if I wanted her to check me, I would have, but I didn't want that. So it was very much like a hands off, pretty much as natural as it gets. I didn't have any kind of pain relief. I had a shot of Pitocin afterwards to stop my bleeding because I was bleeding, not a scary amount, but when you're at home, they just do that kind of thing. She's like, let's just do this precautionary. They don't do it to everyone. I was bleeding more than she wanted.
Average, yeah.
But I also probably didn't actually need it, but let's just do this little shot in your thigh and take care of that and not have it turn into a thing since we're at home. Anyways, that was my experience.
Wait, say the best part.
What was the best part?
What you did it in and where?
In a bathtub In a pool?
In a little pool in your room.
In my room, yeah.
I think that's the coolest part of the story.
Oh, okay.
You're just in your bedroom.
I know. Well,
like
I know.
Corner.
I like get out of the bed and my midwife, my doula I get out of the pool and my midwife, my doula have the bed all set up. I just cozy up in bed and go to sleep. Like,
it sounds so peaceful.
Such a normal night. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
It was like so not normal. Like so like I just birthed a baby and then at the same time like so normal. Like, okay, now I'm just crawling into bed and
but how nice to crawl into your own bed.
Yeah, it was really nice. Would not want to have it any other way. It was 10 out of 10 experience. Unfortunately, there's going to be a flip side.
Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah, but mine was actually really, really good. 10 out of 10, recommend.
Which I am so happy that's like how it happened for you.
Yeah.
Because I remember in the beginning when you were deciding to do that, I thought you were a little crazy at first, but then I got on board.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, you telling me about it, I'm like, I'm so glad you did that.
Yeah, it was great. Let's hear yours.
I had a high-risk pregnancy and an emergency C-section at 37 weeks. That tells you anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to say things I wish I knew before giving birth. Can I say I gave birth?
Yeah, I think you can definitely say
because I always just say before I had a baby. It feels like weird to say like gave birth.
I feel like you still gave birth.
I mean, I guess that's true. I don't know why it feels like different.
I know, but I don't really, it's kind of a weird term or weird wording to use.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, so before I gave birth.
Yeah.
Anyway, so these are the things that I wish I knew before having like a little sprinkle of before having a high-risk pregnancy, but majority of it is going to be like what I wish I knew before having an emergency C-section. Okay. And like just a C-section in general and like a scary delivery basically.
Mm-hmm. Are we going to go back and forth? Or do you want to do all of yours and then I'll do all mine?
I don't know. What do you think?
I feel like we should go back and forth, but if you feel like it would make more sense to do it the other way, we can.
You want to try it?
Back and forth?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, okay. If you want to lump, like...
Couple.
Yeah, if they make sense to lump together, yeah. Listen, I don't cut those out.
I don't care.
I cut out minimal stuff when I'm editing, because I'm not listening to the whole hour multiple times.
Just to cut out my burps.
Yeah.
No, I don't care. I was doing a TikTok, like, get dressed with me or whatever, and I was showing it to Jake, and he goes, oh, are you going to edit that out? Because I go, oh, let me pick my wedgie. And I was like, no.
That's part of the charm.
Yeah, he was like, okay, cute. Okay. Let's see, what's going to be my first thing?
Lump, like, the first 3 together.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Things I wish I knew before having a C-section in general is how fast-paced it all is. Like, I remember you Snapchatting me through your birth, and it was like, oh, it's been this many hours, or it's been that, oh my gosh, I feel like I should be farther, blah, blah, blah.
Obviously, fast pace isn't great, but also, I wish that mine was faster.
Yeah, you were stressing a little bit.
Yeah.
Mine was, okay, backstory, we went to my 37-week appointment, Jake and I, and he had expected to go back to work, whatever. And we get there.
Oh, because you literally went in the middle of the day, huh?
Middle of the day, yeah. And it was the day after Jake's birthday because our appointment was on his birthday, and then they double scheduled us, and so it ended up being the next day. And we went in, and they had been testing me for preeclampsia the entire time because I just had a high-risk pregnancy. Obviously, I'm 5'0", and they were telling me I was going to have a 10-pound baby. So it was a lot. They called me a checklist pregnancy. I had almost every single, like, non-life-threatening issue you could imagine. Like, debilitating, nausea, like dizzy spells, like heartburn that I literally had to sleep 90 degrees for the entire last 3rd trimester, like heartburn so bad I thought I was having a heart attack, like just so many things.
Yeah.
Finally developed preeclampsia, had extremely high blood pressure, so my OB was trying not to freak me out and was like, I think we'll head over to the hospital and just get you checked out, just kind of see like if you're having contractions, like whatever. Didn't want to freak me out. So we went over to the hospital, and we get there, and I'm telling Jake, my first thought was, I literally have not eaten lunch. I'm going to wither away and die. Yeah. And I'm like, can I get, like, Starbucks on the way to the hospital? And he was like, don't get Starbucks. And I was like, come again? And he goes, well, in case we, like, because we had talked, like, literally just the last appointment about the possibility of a C-section. Because he said you can try and deliver naturally, but you will be physically damaged, almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
And there is a chance that Booker could be physically damaged.
So you, like, weren't it wasn't like that was the first time that you had a C-section, like, thought sprung on you.
Like,
but a little bit, kind of.
He was kind of advising me that, like, if you want to try naturally, we can, but understand that this is most likely going to end up in a C-section anyway. We might just want to go for a C-section to begin. So I hadn't even had a chance to wrap my mind around having a C-section yet. And I remember, I think I called you crying after that appointment. I was like, I don't want a C-section. I want to give birth naturally. I don't want an epidural. Like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And I was so upset. So
the
I didn't
appointment before, you mean, not the day that you...
Not the day. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you were the first person I called anyway when I got to the hospital and I got settled.
Yeah,
and Jake left to get our stuff. But, yeah, I'm so upset. So I hadn't even wrapped my head around it yet. And we go there.
But also you wanted him out. You were,
I
like,
was very,
really
very miserable
over it. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a video on my phone of my foot, like, out like an hour or two before the C-section. Jake, like, imprinted his thumb in my foot and took his finger out, and it took about 25 seconds for my, like, skin to come back. Yeah. Like, it was bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, spoiler, we go to the hospital and didn't leave the hospital until we had a baby. But from the moment we arrived at the hospital until we had a baby was under 4 hours. Really? More like 3 hours.
I knew it was fast, but I would have thought 5.
Well, when we got checked into triage, they were like triage, I don't know what you call it, but they were like, okay, well, if we did a C-section, it'd be about 6 hours from now. Because I was scavenging. Thank God I had a granola bar in my car. I had a granola bar. I get there and they're like, have you eaten? And I'm like, I had a granola bar. Like, yeah. They're like, okay, well, the anesthesiologist wants to wait, 6 hours or whatever. And within the hour after they'd run tests, they were like, we can't wait that long. Like, he needs to come out now. And we were like, okay. Fun. Yeah. So, yeah, spoiler. Anyway, so my first point, all that to say, is that you don't get a second to breathe and take it in when there's an emergency C-section. Yeah. From the time frame of getting there to actually, like, being like, okay, I'm going into a C-section, I'm going to have a baby. But, like, they hardly had the time to show us, like, the safe baby videos. Like, that's how, like, rushed it was. Mm-hmm. And, like, they were prepping me for surgery, all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm still thinking about the fact that I haven't eaten lunch. Like, not the fact that I'm going to have a baby. Yeah. And then on the other side of that, how fast-paced the actual surgery is. I mean, you're in and out in 30, 40 minutes. Yeah. And you have a baby. And that baby comes out in the first 10, 15 minutes of being in there. Like, I went in there, got the spinal, they laid me down, and that was my biggest fear, by the way.
Getting the spinal.
Yeah. Because that was my thing with wanting to do birth naturally is I physically cannot handle the thought of an epidural. Yeah. So claustrophobic. It was, like, my biggest fear. Yeah. So getting a spinal was really, really tough for me mentally. And the whole surgery mentally was really, really hard on me. And, yeah, it was like they cut me open. 5 minutes go by. They bring Jake in. 2 minutes after Jake gets in there, he's like, okay, you ready to have a baby?
Wait, they cut you open before Jake was in there? Yeah. I thought they just prep you before.
No, they were like, they cut me open. And I was, like, getting freaked out. And I remember my OB was like, we didn't forget about Jake. We didn't forget about him. We're going to get him. And I'm like, where's my person? I'm freaking out. Yeah. So that was the worst part, was waiting for him to come in. And I'll never forget the look on Jake's face when he walked in the door and saw, like, me cut open. And that's how I knew how, like, barbaric it was. Yeah. Is, like, seeing his face. Like, I'll never forget the look on his face. Yeah. But, yeah, so that's kind of, like...
We're going to have to do a whole birth story.
We will.
Episode eventually, yeah.
So, yeah, going into my next point is how quick it is of, like, baby's out in first 10, 12, 15-ish minutes. And then the next 20 minutes, Jake's, going back and forth beside me and, with Booker. And they're doing breathing tests on him. Obviously, he's 3 weeks early, so they were concerned. He ended up being perfectly fine. But then stitching you up is the worst part. Because you're just laying there. And you're like, I can't see my baby. I can't hold my baby. I can't have my baby. Like, he's right next to me. I can hear him, but I can't get to him. Yeah. And, like, that, as a mom, sends your body into such a fight or flight.
Yeah, well, it's, like, so unnatural.
It is.
Like, being cut open, like, the whole medical part of it is, like, so unnatural. But also, like, the, like, mama bear part of it is, like, so unnatural.
And I feel like I probably put, like, 4 of these points all in, like, one breath here. But that was the other thing is, like, you miss that bonding with your baby. Especially, I think that you had a planned C-section and everything was a little bit more calm. I've seen, like, C-section videos where they, like, bring the baby up to your face. I didn't have that because they were really worried about me.
You just took them right away.
Yeah, so because it was high risk and it was, like, an emergency, I missed all that bonding. I didn't touch him for the first honestly, I would say for the first like 5 or 6 hours of his life, I didn't even touch him. And I really didn't even see him until like an hour or two later.
Yeah.
Because I reacted really bad. My body did really bad with the C-section and the spinal. Yeah. And I even had half the dose, and I had a horrible reaction. But, so yeah, you kind of miss the bonding. And you're kind of just like laying there, and like you're feeling this like tugging. Like you can feel them tugging at your body. A lot of people can't stomach that part of the story.
No. Yeah.
But they have to get your placenta out.
Yeah.
And so I think the other part was, I didn't realize this until a couple weeks after, like, I had him. But I was talking to my sister-in-law who's had 2 C-sections. And we were talking, like, your body, like, main job is to protect your baby. Like, that's what your body's going to do above anything else. And so my body was not ready to give birth yet. And Booker wasn't ready to come out yet. Like, had we left him in, obviously, I don't know if we would have made it 40 weeks. But, like, the baby kind of decides when he's ready to come. So he wasn't ready to come, and my body wasn't ready to let him go.
Yeah.
So going into an emergency C-section like that, my body was probably fighting the doctors to like keep him in.
Yeah.
In whatever capacity.
Yeah.
And that made, I think, my reaction 10 times worse.
Yeah.
And then not being able to see him after sent me into like just such a worse fight or flight. So I was shaking, I was throwing up. They were afraid I was ripping stitches. Like, it was bad. But that was like a birth story that would need to be like a whole nother episode.
Yeah, we'll have to dig into it.
Yeah.
More.
Also, I want to say, if you're pregnant and if you're scared of a C-section or it might be a possibility, this is not every C-section. I have met 10-to-1 people who have a really great experience with C-sections. It's very uncommon to have such a scary C-section, have such a bad reaction, and it be like an emergency. That's really unlikely.
Yeah, well, I feel like even if it wasn't an emergency C-section and it was just planned, a lot of those issues would have been taken off. Like, even if you still would have had like a bad reaction or whatever, that still would have been probably a part of the story and a bad part of the story. But if it was just that, it wouldn't be nearly as traumatic as that.
Mentally,
plus
I would have been in
a
much better spot.
Yeah,
that would have benefited me physically. But
yeah.
What can you do?
Yeah, literally can't do anything about it.
Okay, I think that was the first couple of my points.
Okay, you want me to go?
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can loop any of mine together. I don't think I can, but mine are a lot shorter points than yours.
Right.
Okay, I have mine in like no specific order either. But the first thing on my list is the sweats afterwards. Did you have that?
I didn't get sweats.
Okay.
I was like shaking. But I didn't get
I was
that.
shaking like right after. I was shaking like even in labor too, like the jitters.
Yeah, I had that.
I had that like right after too, but I mean like I don't know if it was days, weeks, a month, I don't know, but every night when I'd go to sleep, I would wake up like wet.
Like drenched.
Wet in sweat. Yeah, and I don't know I mean, obviously it's your hormones in some way, but I have no idea what it is. And also, I guess along with that is like I would wake up in the middle of the night like with the baby or whatever, stinking so bad, like I would
like BO?
Yes, which makes sense because I was sweating so much, but I was just like, what is going on? But then I also like wouldn't want to put deodorant on like in the middle of the night because I wanted the baby to be able to smell me.
That's smart.
Like even when I think for the first like couple of weeks when I would shower, I like wouldn't wash with soap like my whole chest area because I didn't want to smell like soap, you know. I just wanted him to be able to smell me. Anyways, so I didn't want to like be rubbing deodorant on all the time in the middle of the night because I wanted him to be able to smell me. Obviously, at some points I had to put on deodorant, clearly, but there was a bit where I was like, I'm just gonna stink because
that's fine.
Don't want to have like artificial fragrance going on at the same time. Anyways, it was just weird. I would like wake up multiple times in the middle of the night, like drenched.
That's the worst.
It was probably only for like 10 days or something, now that I'm thinking
That's a long time.
It. Yeah, like a long time, but not like months.
Yeah.
Just like kind of like the first handful of days after. Yeah. Do you want to do another one of your points or you want me to do a couple of mine?
I feel like I talked for a long time if you want to.
You want me to do a handful?
Sure.
Okay. The next thing on my list, which actually I think that you said this too, so maybe I'll say this and then we can go back and forth with it and it can knock one off your list too, is that healing took way longer than I thought it would. They say like 6 weeks and you should be kind of back to normal. And for me, it was like, I felt like I healed up within like the first week. I felt like I was doing like better than most people did. But then I feel like most people kind of are like, just have this like regular progression of healing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And for me, I felt like I was like healed up really, really good. And then like the last like 2 weeks, like weeks 4, 5, 6, just kept going and going and going. Like it took me so much longer than 6 weeks to feel like even like to 90% or something. I feel like it was like 12 weeks that it probably took me to feel like
totally normal.
Yeah, or like the new normal, I guess. And maybe that is how it is for everyone, and people just don't say that.
There's a lot that moms are gatekeeping.
Yeah, that just don't say. Yeah. Or maybe it's that just for whatever reason, like I healed up quickly. Like I didn't have like excessive bleeding. Like I feel like if I talk to other moms and I tell them like my whole situation with the diaper and like all of that, like I use pretty minimal supplies for like bleeding and whatnot. Mm-hmm. For the whole time, but I was wearing like a pad, I feel like, for like way longer than normal, if that makes sense.
I think you wore a pad longer than me.
Probably. I feel like I was wearing a pad for a long time.
Yeah.
But a lot of moms at the beginning have like a whole big like thing going
diaper
on.
Situation.
Like yeah, and I did a diaper, but it just wasn't like this big huge thing. So I don't know. I feel like my bleeding was like pretty not crazy for the first little bit, but it just for it to fully fall off just took way longer, and I like, did not feel physically like normal. I still don't feel physically normal, but like I didn't feel like mostly normal. I feel like for like at least like 12
noticeably
weeks.
Different.
Yeah, like where I thought I was going to be at 6 weeks took like until 12 weeks. I feel like
I think it's wild that they say that you're recovered after 6 weeks.
Isn't that crazy? Like, I did not.
That's a lie.
I'm like,
have you ever had a baby?
Still barely getting out of bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
How was it for you?
I was going to say that was one of the things that, like, I think a lot of people don't expect with a C-section is, like, you're going to bleed the same.
Yeah.
No matter how you give birth, if a baby comes out of your body, you're going to bleed the same. Because it's everything that's inside needs to come out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah.
This took way longer.
It took way longer. Like, I didn't have an expectation for a timeline on healing, but they also cut one of my nerves on my left side. And I remember getting to a point at, like, probably 6 weeks. Because I remember I went to that appointment by myself. And that was the first time I ever took Booker out by myself. And I felt like if I didn't have that nerve pain in that one specific spot on my left side, which without meds would drop me. Mm-hmm. And I felt like if I didn't have that, then I would have felt like pretty decent.
Yeah.
That's, I feel like, what hindered my recovery.
And it just kind of like lingered for
way
longer.
For months.
Yeah.
And that like, kept me out of the gym, which is hard because I was like pre-pregnancy very much in the gym, weightlifting. Like that was hard. So yeah. I feel like that, healing takes a long time.
Yeah.
Personally, when you have a C-section early, you don't ever get to experience, if you're a first-time mom, you don't get to experience contractions.
Yeah.
Like, I had Braxton Hicks for, like, months and months and months and months, but I never had a genuine contraction. Yeah. So, like, you'll talk about them, and I'm like...
No idea.
I can't relate.
Yeah.
Like, I've never had one. Okay, I have, like, 3 more that I could lump if you want to go.
Okay, you want me to do a couple again?
Yeah.
Okay, this is things we wish we knew before giving birth, but I feel like I already knew this before giving birth, but I'm still going to say it because I feel like it's good for other people to know, because I feel like I did a really good job at not expecting this.
We don't gatekeep.
But yes, don't expect it to go fast, especially if you're doing all natural. Like, I wasn't going to have any Pitocin or anything to help me along, and my labor lasted 52 hours, which... Wait, no, was it 52 hours? Yeah, I think it was 52 hours. And I think 52 hours is conservative. Like, if you really counted from, like, the beginning.
Early labor that was, like, not consistent. And then,
I think it was probably more,
like... I think you count all that.
I think it was probably more, like, 55 if you, like, really count all of it. But I think I usually say 52. Really long. It was crazy. But it was okay. And I... did not expect it to go that long, but I did not have any expectations of how...
You didn't labor for 50 some hours, though.
I did.
You think?
I went into labor, I would say the start of my labor was on Saturday night.
Right.
at like 6-ish.
But you didn't know it was labor at that point, right? You were like, it could be, could not be. I think you thought you were in early labor.
Yeah, it was early labor.
Yeah.
But I was texting my midwife being like, I think I'm
right.
in labor. And that was Saturday night at like 6 or something, like after dinner time.
Yeah.
And then I had him Monday at like 9:16. That's like 50 something hours, right? It was crazy.
I remember you Snapchatting me after like 7 hours, like, this is taking forever. I'm like,
yeah, and I just kept going and going and going. I thought it was going to stop. I thought like, oh, I'm going to be in labor for 20 hours and then it's going to stop and then it's going to be like multiple days and then it'll kick in again. Anyways, it eventually happened, and that I don't think is normal either. I think that is like a wildly long labor, but I didn't really have expectations. I definitely didn't think it was going to take 50 hours, but I was expecting it to take like for sure 24 or something like that, which that's not how it is for everyone either, but I was preparing myself for kind of the worst, you know?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like crazy to me, I guess. And it also didn't feel like it felt like a long time, but also, I don't know, I feel like time just kind of felt weird. Anyways, my point is, if you're pregnant and
first time
giving birth to a baby at all, but especially if you're going to go natural, is like, just expect it to take way longer than what you think it's going to take. It's okay. Your body knows what it's doing. It needs time. That's what I think, at least. And my body did know what it was doing, and it just needed time. And it's my birth story, so I'm biased, but I feel like I had one of the best, most positive, like, experiences out there. So give your body time, relax, rest. That's like my midwife kept saying. She's like, you need to just rest, which I think the resting made my labor longer. Like, if I would have been like up and going, I think it would have
but it would have been more intense too.
Yeah, and my midwife told me that the biggest reason why first-time moms end up transferring to the hospital when they try for home birth is that they get so tired during labor that when it comes time to push, they can't do it. They're just too tired. Like, they just don't have the energy, so then they have to go to the hospital and get an epidural in order to avoid a C-section. And I didn't want that to happen. So she was like, rest, save your energy because you're going to need it. And so that's what I did. I think it slowed my labor down. I'd probably do it a little differently next time. But overall, I think that was good. I just took it slow and it went slow and it was all good. Just don't think it's going to happen in 7 hours like it does in the movies because it could be days.
Yeah.
Do you want to go or you want me to go too?
How many do you have left?
I have a whole bunch.
Okay. Do you want to fire off a couple more? And then I have 3 that I'm going to lump
together and then that's it.
Yeah, and then that's
it.
Yeah.
And then I'll rapid fire
cut to part 2.
I'll rapid fire some. 2 things that kind of go together that are opposites. Pushing out a baby felt like a literal train coming through me. I don't know how else to describe it. People say it's like you're taking the biggest poop of your life, which is true, but I mean the biggest poop that you've ever taken in your life. And like, it's coming, like, you don't have any control over it coming. If you're usually going to the bathroom, you're like,
I'll take a break.
Yeah, you're like, you can't take a break. Like, your body, my body, like, just was naturally pushing. So it was, like, painful and you're pushing. So, yeah. But then the flip side of that is that I don't feel like the whole thing needs to be this super painful, traumatic experience. And mine really was not. Pushing was way crazier than I would have ever thought. I feel like people will ask me, like, how to prepare or like whatever, and I literally, for the pushing, I don't know what to say other than you don't know what you don't know. I don't know what to tell you to prepare you because it is just a feeling that you, like, I just can't describe it.
Yeah.
And even if I could, like, your brain isn't going to be able to, like, match what I'm saying to how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
even if it'll feel different for everyone too.
Mm-hmm. But even if it felt the same, I'm like, you still just
describe it differently.
It's just so intense. Like, I don't feel like you can picture what it's going to feel like. What was my point? Anyways, I think my point is that was crazy, and I would say painful. I would use the word painful for that. The rest of my labor, I would not use the word painful. I don't think my contractions were painful. I'd say they were intense feelings. But I wouldn't say they were painful. And I don't even think, I think that I did a lot of work beforehand to be able to say that. and
we were
prepared a lot for that.
Or not prunes, but prunes?
Dates.
Dates, yeah. We were downing dates.
I wasn't even doing that. I just feel like I did a lot of mental work to like switch my mindset around it, and like really just told myself it wasn't going to be painful, and it wasn't. But the pushing was. But some people you talk to, it's the opposite, and I think my experience next time I give birth will be different.
Yeah. But
my point is, pushing is pretty crazy, but also the whole thing doesn't have to be this like super traumatic, painful Hollywood movie. Some people really enjoy
birth.
I would
labor, yeah.
I would do it again. I only want 2 kids, I think, but I would give birth 5 more times. Like, I just feel like it was like
the
crazy coolest thing I've ever done. Yeah. You want me to do a couple more?
Sure. What time is it? Yeah.
You want me to rapid fire? Okay.
Sure.
Rapid fire.
Yeah.
Kind of going along with that, I had a really, really good team around me, and that was really amazing. So, not me turning this into just advice. I'm like, so just get a good team around you.
Well, yeah, that's a good thing to know, though, is like, make sure you know who your support is.
Yeah.
And like, you can rely on them for the kind of like support that you want.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually really true. Because even like when I was picking a midwife, I interviewed like a handful of midwives, and then they were all of them would have been.
I got detailed reviews on them.
Yes, they all would have been like really, really good midwives. Yeah. Like, I guess I didn't work with them, but I would send people their way just from interviewing them and stuff. I just picked the midwife that I felt was gonna like
be best for you
personally. Like, that I was gonna get along with the best, that I was most comfortable around, like whatever. So yeah, find someone that you're really comfortable with.
Well, you guys, like, you kept saying, like, you guys felt like friends.
Yeah.
Like, you'd get coffee with her outside of...
So nice. And same thing with my doula. I mean, my doula is really great. Even, like, with a 7-month-old, like, I'll text her and be like, stuff is not right. What do I do? Yeah, they were amazing. I have 2 more things. You want me to just do them?
Sure.
And then you can go. These are completely different. But I was way different in labor than I thought I was going to be. I thought I was going to want like a lot of support from Chris to like do counter pressure and like, I don't know, just like be lovey-dovey with me and like keep the good vibes going and like have this like bonding experience. And that is just like not how I was, which is completely fine. And it's not like I was even like disappointed with it, but it was just different than I thought. I wanted like no one touching me. No one. I needed to like focus. Like Chris would have like something going on the TV. I'm like, you need to turn that off. Oh, that might be crooked.
Okay.
We'll check it before the next episode. I just wanted to be completely left alone. Like he'd have something playing on the TV. I'm like, can you pause that? Like I cannot. I need to focus on what I'm doing.
Makes sense.
And then my last thing is I wish that I had more video footage after birth.
I was like, I watched that thing. What do you mean?
Yeah, no, I have the whole thing recorded, and I have like clips during labor of like my contractions and stuff recorded. I wish that when we stopped like the birth video, we would have like set it up next to our bed and hit record again.
And had the after moments.
Yeah, like had just like the first like sweet. 2 hours with the baby on film. Like I feel like I wish I had those moments.
I can't believe you tried to show me that video.
You never saw it?
No, I saw it, but I came over to see Coast. What was he, 24 hours old? I'm still heavily pregnant. And you're like, what, is he my birth video? No.
Okay, well.
Not really. I didn't know at that point that I was having a C-section. I was like, no.
Would have done you some good.
And you're like, maybe just don't turn the volume on, though. I'm like, no.
Yeah, the volume on is wild.
I was like, no, I'm okay.
You've seen it now, right?
I've seen it now, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, your turn.
It still scarred me, though, because...
Why?
That's wild. I didn't go through that. I was like,
This is the most casual thing. Me in my bedroom, Melissa's like, that is terrifying. Wasn't 7 layers of you cut open?
I will say, I was telling Jake, I really, really appreciate that, like, I always, like, commend you for doing what you did. And I'm like, you're so brave. That's so cool. You should be so proud. Like, brag about it. If people ask me, I brag about you that you did this. And then I was telling Jake, I said, Kylie always makes me feel like such a, like, superhuman. Because she always goes, you were cut open 7 layers. Like, she acts like it's the most wildest thing. And, like, it is. But, like, I don't feel like it was because it happened to me. And I just feel like we pat each other on the back. And it just, like, makes you feel good.
Yeah.
I love that. Just supportive besties.
Yeah, supportive besties all the way through.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, your turn.
Okay, mine is like, I just feel like I'm so negative about this.
That's okay.
It was honestly I'm sorry. If you're having a C-section, you may not want to listen to this until afterwards.
Well, we're pretty much done with the episode. She mentions it now.
I will say this is like top 5 most traumatic things I've ever been through.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
And honestly, I'm sorry, but that's the reality of having a baby is like sometimes you do have this experience, and I feel like having a positive experience is probably more common. But I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it. It can be extremely traumatic.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted 2 kids, and I don't anymore because I'm not willing to carry the baby and go through that again.
Yeah.
Sure, it would be better the next time, and like maybe as time goes on, I'll change my mind. But as of right now, I couldn't imagine anything more miserable than having another baby.
Yeah,
like
doing it all again.
If I didn't have to do it myself, I'd have like 5 of those little blonde dudes. But like,
yeah,
I refuse. I'm like, one and done. Sorry.
Yeah. I hope you feel different someday, but
I know, because it'd be nice to do it again together.
I think probably most people have an in-between experience. I think you have two
we're
like
very polar opposite.
Yeah, very opposite extremes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like my first part of my next point is like the fear of that has like made me be like it's not worth it to me to have another baby. Like when I look at Booker, I see him as this like I have this like intense like feeling of him being like such a blessing and like a miracle, and I see him and I'm like, how did I grow you through all that adversity, and how did I get you here like through all this traumatic stuff? It's like, and I think I made a TikTok about it, is like I would go through the horrible pregnancy, like suffer the pregnancy and like experience the trauma all over again just to like get to you. But like
but not for your sibling.
Yeah. I tell Jake, I go,
not for hypothetical one though.
Yeah. I'm like, now knowing Booker, I tell Jake, I would go through it all again for Booker.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I could like tell myself I could go through it again for like just another baby.
Yeah.
I know I'd feel the same.
Yeah, you would.
But like,
you don't thinking about it though.
Yeah.
No,
and the other part too is like, I was very excited about giving birth naturally. And like, it was going to be like a real pat on the back for me. Mm-hmm. And I can never do that. Like I can never give birth naturally at this point.
Yeah.
Not to say that some people have C-sections and give birth naturally. I just cannot.
Yeah.
Another thing too is I think that dads get overlooked a lot. And especially with a C-section, I think that I think back and I go, I can't imagine Jake seeing the love of his life, who he's been in love with since he was 9 years old, on this operating table, scared for her, she's not doing well, scared for his baby, they're telling him he may not be doing well. Like, he could have very well had like his entire life ripped from him just in like one evening.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine that. And the fact that he did not, I mean, he shed like tears of joy, but like he was a rock for me and Booker through the whole thing. Like, he was so strong. He was, playing with my hair, stroking my face, telling me it was okay. Like, he was really, really, really like the ultimate support person. And the fact that he had to be there for me and Booker back and forth. Like, and so that was like the one thing is with a C-section, like, that's kind of that nature, is I couldn't focus on the baby at all. Like, the first 48 hours, other than breastfeeding, Jake took care of Booker 100% on his own. Every diaper change, I couldn't like physically pick him up out of the bassinet. Like, I couldn't do anything. So Jake not only took care of Booker like probably 85% the first 48 hours, but also the first like 72 hours, because we were in the hospital for 3 days, he was taking care of me. Like,
well, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
I couldn't get out of bed by myself. The first day I couldn't feed myself. Like, he wiped my butt for like 3 days, showered me, like washed my hair.
Yeah,
I cannot imagine taking that on. Like, that's insane. So and like going from nothing to just now you have 2 people who are like solely dependent on you. And obviously Booker didn't sleep through the night as a newborn. Like, you know what I mean?
Nor does he now.
Yeah, nor does he now. But I needed to rest and I needed to heal. Yeah. And like, I will never not pat Jake on the back for that, because the way that he just stepped up was a little sexy.
Because when these 6 weeks are up.
Ooh. Anyways. Now I'm literally telling him, don't ever touch me again. I don't ever want skin to skin. Don't like be within 5 feet of me. Don't even look at me. You get me pregnant again, I'm dropping you off a cliff. Okay? If y'all seen Yellowstone, he's going to the train station.
Was that all of your points?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna wrap it up. We're recording another episode literally right after this one, so if we're wearing the same clothes, you know why.
What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
I was gonna say something. I had like a good wrap up.
Oh. This is a bit chaotic.
It's a bit chaotic. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna go to part 2. But I was gonna say, because we have such polar opposite experiences, I want to, like, a disclaimer that no way of having a baby taken out of your body, no matter how it happens, is the easy way out.
No.
C-section is not the easy way out.
No.
Middle ground is not the easy way out. All natural is not the easy way out. There is no easy way to bring a human into this world.
Yeah.
And anybody that has done it is a freaking superhero. Like, honestly.
Yeah, it's the wildest thing after being a mom now, and you're just, like, looking around, and you're like...
People just do this.
All of these other people, it's like you're part of a club.
Yeah. Elite.
A secret club now. You're like, you're a mom? Because we've probably gone through some of the exact same things, and they're probably the most intense things we've ever gone through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like that there's a lot of stigma with C-section being the easy way out. And
I do not think that.
Yeah. Have Kylie tell you about my complaints after for months.
I would not. No.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone that says that is kind of ridiculous and needs to have their head screwed off.
They need to give birth.
And screwed back on. It doesn't matter because, no, they don't, because some people have given birth and they still say
That's
that.
That's true.
Which is even stupider. Okay, anyways.
Okay, catch you in part 2.
Yeah, catch you in part 2. If you're not watching part 2, go watch part 2.
Yeah, what are you doing, guys?